to you, and then it's up to you if you want it to be like public or not. Basically, if you want it to be kept private, that's completely fine. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's like public, I might use it later because I kind of want to put all the like coaching VODs on a coaching channel because like, well, one because I'm not making any videos at the moment, but also because like I think a lot of other people they put coaching VODs on like Patreon and stuff. I think that always pissed me off when I was like trying to learn because it was like you had to go through like a paywall to get the good content, you know. So
Yeah.
I'd rather post it on YouTube. But all right, so you're playing
Yeah, of course, no problem.
you're playing Qiyana versus, I mean, Akshan versus Qiyana. You said you
Yeah.
struggle with mindset and consistency in applying acquired knowledge. Okay, so what do you mean with mindset? Like, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like you tilt, or what do you mean?
No, no, I'm not, I don't think like I'm an aggressive kind of player. Like sometimes I lose my cool, but I get to snap back to it pretty quickly. What I think is like with consistency, how do I explain it? Like if I take like 100 games that I play,
Hmm.
I find it I find it kind of challenging to like always follow the same game plan, I guess.
Okay.
Like if I know that waves are really important, for example, sometimes I ditch waves, sometimes I play for my lane, and
Right.
although I play the same champion, I kind of struggle to like follow the identity of a champion that I know that I have a lot of hours on and that I should be pretty confident in know how to play, if you
Okay.
understand what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. I get you.
Like I have like these days where like I really go I'm really like I want to go for kills today and I only play for kills and I have like 50 CS 12 minutes or something. And some days I'm really good at CS and like uh, I I may not join a single team fight 10 minutes or 15 minutes in like skirmishes or something.
Okay.
Overwatch.
Yeah. I definitely understand like what you mean. Do you think it's like a focus problem, like you're not focusing enough, or do you think you just kind of forget maybe it's like not a habit and you just forget to actively try it or do it?
Mm.
Because I'll give an example for me, right? So before every pro game that I played, I would like write myself like some notes, like not a ton of notes, right? Just like a little sticky note of stuff that I would remember to like keep in my mind before the game started. So if it's for you that like you're just forgetting kind of like what your play style is or what you're focusing on, maybe that sort of thing can help you. Like literally just write. I mean, I can write one for you. Like write a sticky note of just like 3 to 4 like bullet points and then you just like read it before going into the game. But if it's not that, if it's more like you're just not focused enough on the game, then maybe it's more like, I don't know, you need to be in a better headspace before playing. I'm not sure. What do you think it is?
I think it might be the second one. A question: have you watched the VOD already, or is this the first time now?
Sorry.
Have you watched the replay
Oh,
already?
no.
Okay, what you will notice is I also have voiceover over it, so I'm commenting while I play.
Oh, okay.
So maybe you can notice if like I do think about stuff or not, actually, while you watch the replay.
Okay.
What I usually do is like I'm once in a few minutes like assessing the game state. If I have nothing to do, like what's the win con, I think about what side lane should I gank.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking about the game while I play it. I don't know if I maybe make the wrong assumptions, or maybe I don't think enough about it. But I really think if it's something that it's like I'm maybe not thinking like too much. I guess it's like
Okay.
maybe maybe I have to think like more
Yeah, well, we
again.
can just like watch it and see what's happening
Yeah,
because maybe it's like you have some assumptions that are wrong, and then
yeah,
that leads to you
probably.
being inconsistent. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll have a look. So you're playing, yeah. So you're playing Akshan versus Qiyana. Now, straight away, something I'll tell you is that I think when you play against assassin champions like Zed, Qiyana, Talon, bone
Hmm.
plating, so like resolve secondary gets you like a ton of value because most of these champions have no way to proc bone plating from range. So for them to proc bone plating, they have to like trade on you, right? But if they do trade on you, then they can get punished super hard. And also, Akshan is one of the champs that sort of gets to choose when he trades, right? Like you can just E in basically whenever, especially against a melee champion. So one thing like lots of Akshans do is whenever they have bone plating, they just E in basically, right? So that's one thing you can do, and I think definitely in this lane it's better. What do you have in inspiration in this game?
Inspiration, I have magical boots and biscuits.
Okay, yeah, so I think not bad, but I think if you'd gone resolve with bone plating overgrowth or something, it would be a bit better, but it's not a big deal, right? It's not huge.
Mm-hmm.
Number one invade. Skip through this.
Yeah, this was actually good for us.
Yeah,
I
looks
got-
good.
I got a
Okay,
kill
nice. So
here.
you got first blood.
I don't know if I can use this example now.
Yeah, I think. Is it worth basing? No, I think you're right to cancel your base. Honestly.
I would just like.
Oh, well, you're versus Qiyana. Nah, I think it's fine. Like maybe you can
Yeah.
base in time, but you would be like permanently down XP, and being down XP with an assassin is pretty bad, even if you get an item. So, and also another thing is that you get to choose your base in this matchup because you're the one that bullies. Oh, you have MR because you thought you were versus Rise, I guess, or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't care about that. Okay, I like what you did here. Set up a nice little slow push.
Yeah.
He started W. Yeah, he started. Okay, I'm like almost certain that after you double auto him here, you can E on him, and he loses like 50% of his health or something. Because like you're so strong at level 1 and he's so weak that all you need to do is make it so that you have the like passive proc on him so that your E focuses him, or like just auto him, right? So I think here, yeah, you could have played quite a bit more aggressive and E'd off this wall into him. You should always look to be really aggressive with Akshan E in early game, because there's like very few champions that can trade versus it. It's a bit harder now.
If I E onto him and like collapse with him, I would also get a minion aggro, and he could auto attack me 2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah, I think you're just so strong that you win. Like, okay, so
even without bone plating.
yeah, I think so. Like, you are so strong level 1. You get a shield, you have ignite. I think if you just E into him here, you only take. Well, to be honest, you might not even take the range creep aggro because you could probably fight him all the way up here, and I don't think there's anything he could do to you. I mean, this is like a rare situation because Qiyana is so weak compared to you. Like, it's not often you're versus a champ that's literally just useless, but I'm almost certain that, well, definitely with bone plating, and I'm pretty sure without bone plating, if you just eat on him, like, not now that there's more creeps, but before that,
Yeah.
I think it would have done a lot.
Think, what E angle should it have been?
Probably like, so I think right here, after you double auto him and he moves back towards you, you just like try E. Or another thing you could do is actually you could just like, so you click away to drop aggro, but then you do like a second click back, and I think that could probably be a click forward, or you could have probably moved forward earlier. And you could probably even E on him now, even without the passive thing, because there's no creeps to help him. Although I'm not sure you'd reach him, but anyway. So yeah, this is good. You're like slow pushing the wave. I think you should be looking for a lot more auto attacks here. So right now, you just like, because he started W, you know he doesn't have Q, which means if he ever wants to auto a creep, he should have to like actually walk up to it, right? The thing is, he shouldn't do this anyway, because he should only walk up to last hit. But the fact that he is walking up means that whenever he does this, you should just auto attack him. Like, so right now he's done 2 auto attacks, 3 auto attacks, 4 auto attacks. So he did like a bunch of auto attacks there before you actually punished him. And all those times you could have just looked for like the double shot on him. This is good. You punish.
What I was thinking at that moment was like I wanted to get level 2 ASAP. Like I was looking at that minion,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
I want.
understand why you're doing it, but I think you can just be. No, I don't think it's that, because if you look at this, right, you right now you're just not ordering anything. Like if you do just want to rush level 2, which I think is actually fine, because you could just E onto him aggressively with this, but then you'd want to be like ordering this on cooldown, but you're just like waiting for it to die, you know? So if you did want to
Oh,
do that and just rush to level 2, I think that could be pretty good, and in fact it might even be better, but you didn't really do either of them.
I see. Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
This
I
is
missed my Q, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was close. That was good. And I actually think again, just check. If you order,
Auto just in. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I mean, you could E. It procs the passive. Yeah, I mean maybe. I'm not sure if you can do this in time, but you might be able to. So yeah, maybe. But this is yeah. So this was definitely like a bad time to do this, and the main reason is that. So first off, well, okay, maybe the reason you did this is because you thought he was still going to be level 1. But it's like here, you don't have Q, so you're missing a cooldown. And also,
Mm-hmm.
you haven't hit him with any auto attacks before this, so your E, for most of your E, is just hitting a creep. So essentially, you just threw yourself in melee range without, like, anything, really.
Yeah.
And despite that, I think this trade still goes quite well for you, to be honest. Like, that was basically your worst case scenario for an E, and it still went really well, right? So imagine if you had like done your E's at the other times, it would have gone even better.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have the flash now. I'm currently thinking about jungle,
Hold on,
I
let me go
think.
back. I'm actually not sure you needed a flash. So let's see. You ignite. He's used Q, right? So that's Q1.
Yeah. He's also in my minions.
Yeah, maybe. I can't tell. Has he used his second Q? So that's Q1. And then. Oh, yeah, that's his Q2, right? Because that goes through your shield. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you don't flash and ignite, you probably do just kill this guy. But I can understand you being scared, but yeah, that. I think, to be honest,
Yes.
you need to.
Okay.
Like, you can say it's a problem of, like, you're flashing, but I think you need to realize that you win extended trades. So, the longer this goes for, if she can't one-shot you, you should easily win. And that's another reason why bone plating is really good, right? But I think you can tell, probably, honestly, probably from this point, that because she can't one-shot you because you're full HP, no matter how long this goes, you're just gonna win. I'd say it's more like a matchup thing. You get scared in the moment, but I think if you kind of knew ahead of time that this is actually like a trade that you want, um, that you would be like less scared of flashing away there.
I see. What should I think about right now? If I am
Um,
in.
yeah, okay. So yeah, at around 230 is definitely when you want to ward, and right now having no flash, half HP is definitely pretty scary. I don't think. Okay, let's actually go back because I didn't check where the jungler started. Okay, so you know the jungler started bot, and it's
Yeah.
Zac. So I would say at about 230, so about like right here, I'd probably just quickly walk up here and ward over this wall, so just above it. And that should make you safe from any Zac gank, I would think, yeah. I think that's the only thing you really need to think about. Otherwise, you just need to like get level 3 first, like push this all the way in, and yeah, kind of look for a base. But you can't really push here at all. Oh, he ganked you from bot side. That's weird. So we did 3 camps bot, but either way, it's like if you ward over this wall, then you have a place to really safely hug to, right? Like if you stand in here, knowing that up
Mhm.
here is warded, there's no way Zac can ever gank you. You managed to get out anyway, but that was super, super weird from him. It's actually really good that you lived that because it was a huge waste of time for him. Like he did a really inefficient path and you lived and didn't lose anything, so good.
Oh, I did not expect.
Ooh.
Trade 1-1,
Okay,
yes.
nice. That's a good trade. I would say, given your kind of position. So I
Mhm.
think again, this is you're walking too far up with no cooldowns again. So you're not being very respectful of your own cooldowns. You have no E, and no Q.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
another thing would be you have no bone plating. Like you don't have it this game, right? But a bone plating cooldown is something you should think about as well. So in this situation, it's like Qiyana's dream scenario. You have nothing. She has everything, and despite that, it's still so close. You know, it's still so close,
Yeah.
and that's pretty good to be honest. Because the wave's pushing to you, so I think you can be pretty happy with the death.
I think the wave was pushing out.
Is it? Should push to you, I think.
I think I checked it.
No, pushing to you, so that's pretty good. Yeah, you're
Okay,
pretty
that's
happy with this.
Yeah.
That's quite annoying. I think you could.
Right.
Here's another. I think here you should actually E towards him. I'm pretty sure, because, like again, like he's just used all his cooldowns. It is a little bit scarier because you're only level 3 and he's level 4. But I think after he just used all his cooldowns, you could have extended that trade a little bit more. Maybe got like 1 or 2 more auto attacks on him.
Mm-hmm.
Does
I
Malphite?
should stay in the fight, although she has level advantage. Like.
Yeah, I think so, because like okay, there are like lots of different ways to get advantages in matchups, right? And level advantage is one of those. But the advantage you have here is basically you have essentially a champion advantage because like you have a stronger early game champ than her. But most importantly, you have cooldown advantage. Like she's just used all her cooldowns. I think if you had just like you don't need to walk into melee range of her. In fact, maybe you just don't E. Like maybe you go like you just like stay here. Oh no, the E is good. I guess if you just like E this way a little more, like just a little bit up, not to where like she can run you down, but just where you know you can get like a couple more autos on her. I don't think it's a huge deal either way, but it's like a little bit of extra damage. So yeah, but again, all this would be a lot easier if you had bone plating. It actually would, mate. I said before it's not a big deal, but it actually looks like it's a pretty big deal. So
I see.
yeah, if you're, to be honest, it's maybe just the best on Akshan anyway because you always get to decide when you trade. So I much prefer over inspiration unless you're versus like a heavy skill shot champion, but Qiyana's not one of those. You see Zac top, you definitely want to try push this in before she gets her cooldowns back. Otherwise, there's a pretty high chance you die. You actually also need to be super careful about using any cooldowns here. Because if you do, she's probably going to look to all in. So yeah, like if you use that, you have to be really respectful. What you do, you just take, oh you don't take a base. Pop a
Yeah,
biscuit.
I was thinking of taking a base, but it was not a cannon wave.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. You lose a lot. And then she'd be level 6 way before you. I think this is fine, like she's too low health to roam anywhere. So you're okay to just let this wave come to you.
Yeah.
Oh wow, holy fuck. Yeah, even you said what the fuck. That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, I was weird.
Yeah, I think you're just being a bit too aggressive on the wave. It's like you yeah, again, you don't need to contest this wave at all because she's pushing it to you and she can't roam anywhere on her current health. So maybe you just thought you could win the trade here, but I think this is like yeah, now she has level advantage. I'd rather than you being full HP, you're actually half HP, which means the trade's not going to be extended. There's like a pretty reasonable chance that you die before the trade gets long enough for it to be good for you. But yeah, that's a what the oh my god, that guy flashed in. So yeah, that's a pretty rough death. Really, oh, and Malphite fucked your wave as well. Like right now the wave's actually good for you. It's gonna push to you, but Malphite E'd that. So now the wave's pushing away from you and you're down a level, so that's super rough situation to be in. If you can shove this in before she gets back, that would be great. That's what you do. Okay.
I was kind of tilted because of my death, I think. That I forced it. And
Yeah, I mean
we were kind of late following up and like
okay, I mean it did work, but I think wait, hold on, let me just okay, it did work, but it's in my opinion not a super high percentage roam. So the reason is that like okay, right now walking down the river I think is good because your wave is like it's pretty far away. And they're overextended and they're sort of low HP. Actually, no, I take it back. I think this is good. So like, yeah, your wave was far enough back. They're overextended. I don't know about their summoners, but it looks like some of them were down at least. Or you actually walked over a pink. And that guy's still base. But yeah, no, I think it was good. I'd say actually maybe the only thing here is that you should focus Vayne instead. I'm not sure if you knew where Vayne was. It looks like you don't know where Vayne is, but it's really important when you go like roaming bot that you kill the ADC instead of the support, because it'll mean they lose all the CS as well. So you killing Nautilus, like yeah, it's like gold, right? But killing the ADC is more important. Although to be honest, getting the ADC to 1 HP is basically the same thing as killing her. But I think if you'd gone for the Vayne first, although it's hard to know because you don't know where she is. You could have killed Nautilus without Ignite, I'm pretty sure as well. So I guess the optimal way to play this is like, okay, you E towards Nautilus, you just auto Q him, and then when you realize Vayne's here, maybe you just like Q and Ignite her or something. But it still went quite well for you, and I think probably the reason you died is not so much because of Zac coming here, but it's actually because you just like jumped too far in. So like right here, you just jump like next to Vayne, right? Where you can keep autoing her, but instead you take a tower shot, and then you keep clicking forward because you're like trying to snipe the kill. But you can just, yeah, I mean you can just walk away from this at that point. So I think the roam was actually, you actually did do the roam at a pretty good time. And you executed it pretty well again, but I think the end of it was pretty bad. Like this part was really bad. Another thing that you should think about is that when you do roam, it's really important that you get some kind of farm as well. Like a lot of the time I see people roam and they come down and they don't take any of the next wave. And that's kind of a problem because like no matter what, if you commit to a roam this far, you're going to miss some creeps on the next wave, right? So you still need to farm some of this wave, like at least half of it. So if you lose your HP or get to the point where you can't like help them push, or in this situation actually they're gonna freeze, so you're not gonna push. But either way, like you would want to like not really lose your health here or not lose too much health, so that you could keep pressuring. Or worst case you can base, I guess. But I don't know. It sort of depends if they're gonna freeze or not. So I guess in this situation it actually doesn't matter that you lose your health. But obviously if you die, that means you get to lane a bit later. But I don't know, overall it was still a pretty good roam, I'd say. Kind of sucked that you didn't get any kills though.
Do you think I should like disengage after I get Nautilus?
No, I think you were right to go on the Vayne. I think this was good. I think you just needed to stay out of tower range. Like just jump here rather than jump up. Because you know you can just like tap E again to jump. So rather than, you know, letting it end, I think you just jump here, and that way you don't take the tower shot and you don't get condemned. And I think here also, I understand why you go for this, because like you could maybe Q through these creeps and kill her. But it's pretty greedy and also pretty low reward, I would say. Like you do get 300 gold, but to be honest, the biggest damage is done. She can't actually stay here anymore, and she's gonna lose all those creeps. But it is kind of hard because you didn't have any knowledge of Zac, but maybe you could have been thinking about him. Yeah. You come back to the lane. You're gonna shove this in.
If you notice right now that Qiyana is level 7, I am freshly level 6.
Yeah, you are pretty far behind in XP. Pretty rough. Here you definitely get that tower plate. You should also get some wards down here as well. This is pretty scary. So it's okay at this point, I guess. Like at this point you're like, so at this point you're pretty safe, I would say, because you can E away from one of these. But in general, when you push past this point in the wave, you need to like be really careful about the sides of mids. Right now you have no vision top side, no vision bot side. So if you push past this halfway point, it's starting to get quite risky. I think here, you're still safe as long as you stay here within range of one of these walls. But after you push this wave, I think you really need to be thinking about getting a ward down like really, really soon. I think this is starting to get a bit scary. You could even just walk up to this and ward over this wall to allow you to hit this plate. Hopefully you do that. Yeah, see, like right now this is so scary. It's like you're completely pushed up in the lane and you have like no idea where their mid jungle is. So this is really, really scary.
Do you think I should ward topside?
Yeah, I'd say probably ward topside would be better because your jungler is going to path up there. But yeah, to be honest, it doesn't matter that much. I guess, yeah, it doesn't matter that much just because pretty much either way, you just need something to hug to at this point. I guess topside's a little bit easier. I think one thing also that you should think about here is that you're actually the only gankable person on the map at the moment. So your Sion just died, so there's no way Zach can gank top, right? Your bot, like, Lux isn't even in lane. So I don't think your bot's really gankable either. I suppose they are diveable, but it's like less likely. Oh, and actually, it looks like Kai'Sa's dead. Okay, so Kai'Sa died, so right now, you're the only gankable lane, and you have no wards. So even if you don't die in this instance, I'd say on average, like, you know, if you play 100 games, you die here a lot of the time. And that's a really big problem. So yeah, I'd say like pink this dot bush. I think, yeah, pink the dot bush and then like ward over one of these walls. You do need a bit deeper wards versus Zach, because it's a little bit harder, right? Because he's got really long range ganks. So this is all quite greedy, especially because actually you just used your E. So it's like, if you had your E at the tower, I could maybe justify it. But now it's like you're walking up again, no vision, like no control, no E. It's kind of a miracle that you don't get ganked by Zach. And this is another reason. Like, if you have E, you probably win this trade versus Qiyana. But it's like she realizes that you don't have E and you're still walking up like you do have E. And she's just like punishing you for it. So you need to be really respectful of like your own cooldowns as well as hers. Like this, I don't care about this at all, you know? Like, this sucks, but the reason this happened is because you made the big mistake before, you know? Like walking up without E. Anything that happens after that, it's kind of whatever. If you use your flash better, you live, but the biggest problem was the fact that you walked up again with no cooldown. So yeah. You walk back
usually what I think about is when I solve a jungler on bot side, for example, I would like ward top side, because I think he will probably reset and go top.
Yeah, that's good.
That's correct thinking?
Yeah, I'd say so. The only maybe different thing about Zach, just like from a warding point in general, is that your wards always have to be deeper. So like, other than level 3 when Zach's jump isn't very long, so like level 3, right, you can ward just over this wall and it's fine because Zach's jump isn't very long. But after that, your wards like pretty much always need to be either on Raptors or on Red or something, because, well, yeah, actually, especially the Raptor pick, because he can often jump there. He just has like such long ganks that wards in other places just like won't do that much. But yeah, it's correct thinking that if you see him bot side and he's gonna reset soon, you should ward the other side. This is basically the same thing. Again, you're like really pushed up. It's even riskier this time because you don't have flash. The one good thing you're doing is you're hugging sort of close to your jungler, but like realistically you can still die because you have no vision topside. Oh yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think you're getting pretty lucky, but I mean, you do outplay them. I think they both had chances to block this, but yeah, you do outplay them. But you can see, right, like if you had the ward here, you would know this was happening already, so. But you do play well. You do play well.
Yeah, I'm sitting on 2 wards.
Yeah, and also this ward is literally completely useless. So I think you warded it maybe because you were scared of Qiyana, but this ward, it doesn't do anything against Zach, and it doesn't do anything against Qiyana either. Like, if you want to ward against Qiyana, you should just ward in the lane. You should ward like right here, so that you can see when she leaves topside, or you can see like if she starts walking down. So there's like lots of times where you can ward against the champion that's going to roam just by placing it in the lane. But a ward like this, it provides nothing for you, it provides nothing for your team. It's just actually completely useless. So it was like a panic ward, and to be honest, you're not even like thinking about using your wards because you've had 2 wards and a pink for, I don't know, like 5 minutes or something, and you haven't placed them at all. It would be really good if you could take just one wave to put down some vision, because there's a lot of times where it'll affect your teammates as well. And you'd be surprised, I think, at how many, if you like really placed your wards well, you like pink this dot bush, you get some like deep vision topside, you'd be surprised at like how much more information it gives to your team and how big a difference it makes. There's a lot of times where like fights or ganks or stuff won't happen or will go better just because like you have like way more vision. So this is, honestly, I don't really like this that much. You do get a kill. Is this guy a shutdown? Okay, he is a shutdown, so that's a bit better. So, let's see.
What shall I
So,
think right now?
yeah, I'm trying to think. So the problem is like, no, I actually think you might be right to do this. Okay, well, I'll talk about like the reasons why and why not. So the first reason is that you are roaming on this wave a little bit late. So like as I was saying before, if the wave is at your tier 3, it's a much better time to roam, but the wave's already passing your tier 2, and I'm not sure, but I think this is a cannon wave. It looks like 7 dots on the map, so we'll see in a second. But that means that when you come to this, you are like consciously giving up a cannon for it. The the Scion gets an ult, and he is this a cannon wave? No, it's not a cannon. Okay, but the reason I think this is sort of bad is because so one, your wave state isn't that good. Also, this guy is almost full HP and he has flash, so he doesn't need to get hit by the Scion ult. I think the reason he probably did is because like he didn't expect you to be there. Um, but it's not a super great roam anyway. Like I mean, you do get some gold. No, I mean, okay, the outcome is good. Like you get a shutdown, you get the gold, and you get to farm this wave. So the outcome is actually quite good for you. But it's like questionable, I would say, for this to be good most of the time. It's like you're roaming to the losing lane while your wave is in not a great spot. So yeah, like this one worked out, and maybe you can be like, you can, I guess maybe you can say it's a bit higher percentage because you're ganking a champion that's like sort of squishy. But I think just
Mhm.
like you should be just like a little more careful, I guess, about the time that you roam. But yeah, I mean, I think this one was pretty good, and maybe I'm like nitpicking too much. But you should just be careful because if you take lots of roams that are sort of like this and they're not that high percentage, that's how you end up being like consistently low CS, you know? So I'm not sure if that's like consistently a problem for you. Like I'd have to see more games, but I
Mhm.
could definitely see you doing too many roams, you know, and like being consistently low CS. This game, your low CS is more a result of like your laning and stuff, so it's not really like the roaming problem this game, but it's just something maybe for you to think about it. I kind of feel like I'm being a bit too nitpicky with it, to be honest, so.
Do you think like Rice could have outplayed this one?
Yeah, I think so. So I think like, for example, when when you walk top here, like if Rise is like aware, first off he can know that like you're not showing mid, right? Like I think Qiyana can be pinging. I think also like when this guy ults, if Rise flashes and then ults away, he can get out. And like yeah, I'm probably giving like way too much credit to what's your rank again? Like gold or something? So
Yeah.
maybe I'm giving too much credit to a gold rise, but I think at like a high level, the skank probably doesn't work. But I don't know if you feel like you can consistently get this off. It's definitely not. It's not the biggest problem you have right now. Like your laning is definitely the bigger issue, especially your like your cooldown thing. So it's like maybe something that could be optimized later, but there are bigger problems at the moment. So
Should I have stayed top lane
oh yeah, good
for
question. Okay, so you base.
I
Yeah, you should have walked top out of base for sure. So right now, it's like,
mean before I based, I like took two platings and pushed the wave before I reset it.
yeah, no, this was, yeah, that was good. That was good. All this part was really good. You push in the wave, you get a ton of gold. You push another cannon wave, that was good. You base here, I think this is the perfect base. Like you spend all your gold, you spend like all 800 of it. I think the actual big problem here is that you're walking to the wrong place out of base. So your Scion is mid, so you can't get any farm mid. Your bot lane's walking bot, so you can't get any farm bot, which means you have to walk top. Like even if you want to be at this fight, you're gonna lose so much gold by not being here. Sign up TP. Okay, Sign actually does have TP. So he could TP top, which I guess is what's gonna happen. But this like does kind of fuck you over a bit. I'd say here, okay, if Cyan is pinging that he wants to TP top or he's like talking about that, you should take these raptors instead. Basically, you should just feel like right now you're like you don't even have good farm and you're like losing more and more farm. So you really need to find a way to get CS. And I want this was something I was actually saying to someone earlier. I want this situation to feel really bad for you. Like if you ever feel like you're not getting farm or you're like sharing farm and XP, that should feel really bad for you. And you should like try and find a way to find some farm. So like here, your option is like 100 gold from Raptors, so I would probably take those. And then
Mhm.
you can come to Dragon after.
What I was
So,
thinking about is like I ping Sion to go top lane,
yeah.
because I wanted actually I wanted to go straight to bot lane and maybe look for a gank from the lane.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that Drake was up. I wanted to be in the fight because I know I can reverse with my passive.
Yeah.
So I knew that I was more useful in team fights than Sion. So he should go top. I knew he had TP. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's decent. The only thing is like potentially if Rise has TP, like now you've used your TP advantage. Although Rise TPing to fights isn't that great. But I think the main
Mhm.
problem here is just that you didn't farm those raptors at all, and now you're coming to this. It's like again, you're kind of just the way you're playing right now, you need to get kills because you're not getting gold from anything else. Like this fight has to go well for you because you're just not farming at all.
Yeah.
And I guess okay, well you're playing the fights well mechanically and like positionally, but you're just like you're putting yourself in situations where you have to play well, um, and like making it sort of hard for yourself. I would
Yeah.
say. Looks like you get out. I mean, yeah, like you've played them, you've played it well mechanically for sure. But again, as like you lost. Ooh,
Yeah, she was like greeting a lot,
ooh,
and
close.
I was also greeting.
Yeah. No, I like that you went for this sort of. I think like you could expect her maybe not to be watching. Well, I don't know. It's a bit risky, but I don't mind the death that much. And I think that this is another thing where it's just like all this stuff is kind of adding up. Like you're lower level than her. You have a lot less gold than you should. Um, like you're just kind of behind. This is the kind of thing where yeah, like it's pretty close. Maybe it's a bit dumb to like go for this or whatever, but it's really just more and more the kind of butterfly effect from all your mistakes in the early game is starting to make the game quite hard for you because to be honest, like this okay, it sucks that you die, right? And maybe it's a dumb play, but also if you can't E in and kill people on Akshan when they're like low and stuff like this, then what are you useful for? You're just like you don't really have a role anymore if you can't really like bully people out like this. So it's like yeah, I understand why you're going for it, I guess. And it's mainly, yeah, the early game is really like biting you a lot. Only 70 CS at 13 minutes. You found this? Okay, now this I think is a really bad roam, I think. Okay, no, it's like good at this point. Okay, so what you should do here, so you realize that your wave is passing you at tier 2, bot lane's having a fight, so you start walking to it. I like this, I think this is good. You realize right now that you can come down. I actually think right now, you probably walk back mid, I'm pretty sure. So I think you can know that Kai'Sa doesn't really need your help with this. Like you grab the kill, right? But you could have been pushing mid. Like, okay, so you should have gone halfway, realized that once Vayne was dead, you could go back mid, then you can push this wave, Qiyana's top, and you probably get this tier 2 tower. So I think, like, you come here and get 300 gold, but I'm pretty sure if you'd stayed, if at this point, as soon as Vayne dies, if at this point right here, you walk back to mid, I think you can maybe get like 150 from the wave and then like 600 from the tier 2 tower. Actually, do you get 600 from mid tower? I can't remember. But anyway, you can get a lot more gold and a lot more map pressure if you just stayed mid. Or, well, realize that you could go back mid after going halfway down bot.
Mhm.
So you come and push mid. Could have been a wave earlier, but it's still good. You walk into top side.
Here I didn't pay attention. I
Oh
thought
yeah,
Kana was in the bush or something.
that
I had
sucks.
flash, but I thought I don't survive this even if I flash.
Yeah, I think if you're... Yeah, the problem is you don't look until she's right on top of you. I think, yeah, if you were like paying attention, you would have seen her earlier, obviously, but... Yeah, I think if you flash... I mean, maybe you could flash her all and you'd live?
I could maybe flash E, but I don't
Yeah,
know. She has Polar's Claw or something.
yeah. No, it's hard because you're just in this situation where you're playing like a squishy 80 carry essentially into an assassin that's 2 levels above you. So you don't really get to make mistakes anymore, but it should never be like that. Like Akshan should be able to have like a consistent lead and like be way stronger early game. There's just all these little mistakes that are making the game quite a bit more difficult for you. So out of
Yeah.
base here, you run straight to bot. I think this is good. Like Malphite's already farming mid, Sion's farming top, and there's a fight here, so You kind of have no choice but to walk bot anyway, but the fight's already over.
Yeah, from
Malphite
this
got a
point on,
creep.
it's mostly like they're way stronger. We
Yeah.
can't really team.
Yeah, I don't even think you can farm this wave. Can you go for it? Oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought about like after I kill Wise, I flash behind our own minions and I can E away,
Yeah.
so he can't.
Yeah, no, it was close, but I actually think it was pretty greedy to go for this anyway, because I think so right now you should realize that you're like hard weak side. Like your jungler is top, he's nowhere near you, and that Zac, I think Zac should still be here. Like, okay, Zac clears these Krugs, and he has nothing to farm up here, or maybe he has like Raptors or something. So I'm not sure why he leaves, or maybe he's just leaving because he thinks there's nothing else like for him to do. But I think like you're level 9 versus level 11 and you're trying to contest this on weak side, it looks really, really scary. And I think you're, again, you keep putting yourselves in situations where you have to play like perfectly for it to go well for you. And to be fair, you are playing the situations quite well, but it's just consistently like very risky, right? And also it's always like one for ones. Like you're not really putting yourself ahead, you're just like keeping yourself even. So I think here the best play is actually just to chill. I think you lose this cannon creep probably and this tower dies, but then you get to farm this wave as it comes in, and then Rise would probably base, or maybe you could like try look to 1v1 Rise if Nautilus resets. So I think yeah, this was pretty greedy. And actually I'm not even sure how worth it is, just because you get the gold, but it's like because you die here, you miss this wave, and you also miss the opportunity to push the next wave and maybe get the bot tower. So I'm not sure it was even worth for you, and you had to use like flash, you had to use ult, you had to use ignite. You just had to use everything, and you had to play well. It was just another risky situation, essentially, that you put yourself in.
Okay, if from like your perspective, if you look at the game state, do you think there's something I can do to make the game winnable?
Yeah, I think like at this point, you just need to like find a way to get yourself a lot of gold, and then you need to play team fights pretty well. I think here you actually do have a pretty good opportunity to get a lot of gold. You can wait for this wave to come in, and then when this rise resets, you can probably take the tower. I think you can probably accelerate yourself pretty hard on the side lane. And I think also in this game in general, there isn't really people that can 1v1 you on the side lane. I think unless, well, you fell behind Qiyana, right? But the fights
Yeah.
are still pretty close. And you can already pretty much 1v1 Rise, even though you're down 2 levels. So I think if you caught up in gold and levels from the side lane, the game probably is winnable. But yeah, the more you 1 for 1, it's gonna be a lot harder to kind of do that.
So you think if I'm like if I'm behind, it's not so good to trade 1 for 1, or
Yeah,
how
well,
is
it's
it?
more that just like no, I don't know, because like normally when you're behind, like a 1 for 1 is good for you, right? But it's like a 1 for 1 is only good if that's your best option. But the thing is, you have better options here. You can wait in this bush, or you can just wait here for this wave, and then you can like push this, you can get the tower, and then maybe you can look for a 1v1 on Rise later. So it's like, you're taking 1 for 1s, which, if you're behind, sometimes a 1 for 1 is your only option. But here, I think you actually have way better options. Like, you can live, you can get the golden XP for this wave, you can get the golden XP for the next wave. You can get this tier 1 tower. Like, there's a lot of good stuff that you can do here that isn't just like another 1 for 1, basically. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's the main point. So you come out here.
None of them does, only Wayne.
Now your Q does pretty good damage.
And if Wayne doesn't come to me now, we win this anyway.
You're pathing. Yeah, see, I think this is good. Looking for just like a straight 1v1 on Rise with like no one around him, I think this is quite good. Ooh. If you'd E better, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's sort of hard to catch him, and also you might get perma-rooted. Well, yeah, I think Like, this would be quite good to look for. And to be honest, I think maybe rather than Eing here, you just keep using your W move speed to chase them. And then when you catch up to them, then you can look to E. Or you could just E at a better angle. But yeah, I think this guy should definitely die. But I like that you did this because I think you had the right idea here of what to look for. For sure.
Yeah, my alpha died mid lane, so I was like pinning my camera to mid lane while I walked top. But I
Yeah.
thought like Malphite will disengage, so I didn't bother.
Yeah.
But she ended up dying.
This is
So you
good.
think I should stay mid lane there and look for like a gank on Qiyana? Or should I
Like
go
back
top?
here?
Like not here, a few seconds later on. Like Malphite was coming mid lane.
Yeah. No, I
Was
think
looking
I think you're right to go top because I don't think this Qiyana is really killable, honestly. Like, unless Malphite can ult her somehow before she can, like, WQ. I mean, maybe you
it would
could
have
run to her now? Yeah, I guess maybe
like
you could have killed Qiyana now. Yeah, I guess you probably could have, actually, if you turned towards that. But I think, like, either play is fine. Or I guess the Qiyana play is slightly better. So, yeah, you probably should have gone for Qiyana because she has a shutdown. But I think either play is fine. And as long as you do one of them, I think it'll be good. Push this. I like that you kept pushing this. This uses W. This is sort of hard for you to dive. But this is like, again, it's just because you're so far behind in terms of levels. Like, you're level 10 with only 94 CS, so you're so far behind kind of where you should be. Oh, you kill him, right? Nice. Okay, he entered.
I don't know. He didn't use his W, which was weird.
Did he not? No, he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, but why is just so weak right now? So.
Yeah, you just one-shot him. I think this is bad, I think here, once you kill this Rise, you should literally just keep pushing this side lane, keep getting gold and XP for yourself, and you get this tier 2 tower. Roaming to this, it's a pretty big risk, because you're half HP, no flash, no ignite, and there's not really a guarantee that you get a kill here. So you're like running all the way down the map, when you had, I would say, about 800 guaranteed gold right here. If you keep pushing, you know no one can gank you. You can probably get that tier 2 tower because you take towers really quickly. So,
I see.
yeah, it's basically you just gave Dragon, and like, it wasn't... There's like a lot here. Like, you don't have the resources to do this. You didn't look at their HP, I don't think. Okay, well, you looked now, but you're like already here. Yeah, I don't know. This is just a really bad time. If you just stay top, you get so much gold.
Okay.
This goes. Also, I'll say another thing here is that you should think that when you're like half HP, in general, it's quite hard for you to pressure the map. So like you do have an opportunity to pressure the map here, like by taking the turret, right? But after this, like after you do roam here, you really want to base as soon as possible because you're just not very useful on this health. Like you create, say, sort of like half pressure right now, like you don't really pressure that well. Whereas like if you, the sooner you base here, the quicker you can go back to like actually farming and like pressuring Rise in the side lane and doing stuff like that. Like right now, you just can't really do anything productive with your kind of health. So you definitely stayed too long on the map. I think the optimal play before was just, yeah, push that top lane, take that top tower, and then look to base. But instead, you stayed on the map for a really long time here. You have 2,000 gold, and yeah, you were half HP the whole time, so... That was probably about like a minute. Oh, you go.
Do you think like I should prioritize like getting myself ahead more instead of like team fights?
Definitely. So, well, first
As
off,
a general,
yes, I would say as a general, rule, I think it's good to group when Dragon's up. But in this sort of situation, you should just like, okay, if you wanted to group for this Dragon, the way it would work is you start walking there now because you've already pushed Rise under tower. But I think it is correct for you to look to kill this Rise because I think it's very hard for you to team fight when you're this far behind. And Akshan's really strong in the side lane anyway. But yeah, so you can look for the 1v1s, and I don't think you would want to look to team fight, because if you think that like, look at their champs. They have like Nautilus, Zac, and Qiyana. It's really, really hard for you to play team fights this game. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, like the side lane's really easy for you. Like this guy is 2 levels up on you, and you still destroy him. That's actually insane. Like how strong Akshan is in the 1v1. Like you would have killed this guy before, and you killed him now, and that's insane. Because this guy has like 2 items and 2 level advantage, and you just kill him every time. So yeah, if you committed to that side lane, you would have got a lot more here. Also, because you base late, you don't pressure the map for a long time, and you give Qiyana this top tower and more gold for free. And you walk top. The walking top out of base here is good. You can maybe look to kill this Qiyana, although she's really strong.
I'm really scared of her right now.
Yeah, no, I think you're right to be scared. Actually, she's got like 10 kills.
Yeah. I just accepted that she can one-shot me whenever she wants, whenever she sees me. Like I knew she was.
Yeah.
I knew she was. But I don't know. It's like
Yeah, no, it's hard to respect. I think this is really like, it's just really, really hard to play an assassin, or sorry, to play an 80 carry mid versus an assassin and fall behind. You know, champions like Lucian, Akshan, you know, Kalista, Tristana, all the like ADCs that can be played mid. They counter assassins because they can like destroy them in lane, build this really big lead, and stay ahead. So that's why like you see people say like Akshan, you know, Lucian, these like are counters to champions like Zed and Qiyana. But the thing is, if you don't get that lead or you fall behind, it becomes super, super hard to play. So the goal should be just to never be in this position. And if you are, like, the game's just fucked, you know? Like it's really hard to play at that point, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'm trying to like cheer them up so they don't FF.
yeah, no, that's good.
Hope she doesn't camp this bush again.
Gives you a chance to win, maybe. Yeah, actually, it looks like Qiyana entered here. Oh,
Yeah.
you were so close.
I didn't
You
know.
would have got the
Yeah,
res as well, yeah. And the gold.
Yeah, Kaiser got it. I guess it's okay.
That's pretty annoying, actually, because I think if you'd revived Lux, you probably could have done Baron. And to be honest, maybe you can do Baron anyway.
Okay. I think Zac dropped.
But yeah, he was
gold.
bot. Yeah, maybe you could look for Baron. It's sort of hard to duck warrior team to do that, though.
Yeah, Kaiser was base.
This actually... Okay, well this isn't really your fault, because like... Okay, so the thing is here, you passed top out of base, right? Which was good, but then for some reason, Sion also passed top instead of pathing bot with TP. So the weird thing here now is that this should be your top wave, but Sion's just here, which sucks because you kind of have to go bot without TP. I think here, again, this should be another situation where you realize and you feel bad that you don't have like a place to farm and get gold, and you probably should have just based and go bot. Or if you could have pinged Kaiser to go bot and you farm mid, but instead what's happening is, like during this time, okay, let me just back up. So after you kill this wave, it's 1950, right? 1955, and then you, in this next minute, this whole minute, you got 2 CS. So that's like, that's super bad, you know? That should feel really bad for you, because Akshan's a champ where you accelerate yourself really fast because you clear waves quickly, you clear camps quickly, you don't really have mana costs, and you can like stay on the map a long time. So if you're ever at a time where you're just not farming, yeah, it's like warning bells, or you know, alarms need to go off in your head that you need to be finding some gold. So you need to look more kind of like proactively, I guess, to find places to farm on the map, you know, side lanes, camps, whatever really. Don't just spend these like large parts of your time just walking around doing nothing, basically. It's not like you're doing nothing, like you're trying to look for fights, but it's just like low chance, and getting the farm is just like way higher. It'll make your gameplay more consistent, you know, like if you're worried about consistency and stuff like that, this will be like a big reason why you can't consistently carry out of your elo is because you're taking a lot of inconsistent decisions, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, makes sense.
I think here you kind of have no choice really but to fight this, but I don't see any universe now that you win this fight. I think they'll honestly just kind of destroy you, so I don't know, let's see how you play it, because you have kind of pulled out some miracles earlier in the game, so let's see. Flash?
Yeah, Qiyana outplayed me there.
Yeah, no, it's just so doomed at this point. You guys are just too far behind.
Yeah,
You'd have to play just like perfectly to win. Okay, let's write down a bunch of stuff. I think there's a lot of good stuff. So for you, I'd say the biggest thing is definitely your early game. This affects everything else. So the biggest thing I would say is first like recognizing advantages. So like this can be like level advantage. This can be like minion advantage. I'll just add. It can be a cooldown advantage, especially, is another big one for you. So yeah, like recognizing all these advantages. Like there are lots of time. Oh, and also I'm just gonna put like champ advantage / matchup. So like you didn't realize just how much stronger you were than Qiyana at level 1, that you could literally just fight her to the death and she wouldn't be able to do anything about it. So you really, that's like knowing matchups, but you can, because you were an Akshan one trick, right? Or like you made him, I guess?
Yeah, I play him a lot.
Yeah, so you should know that against almost every other champion, you're just gonna win like early game. Like Akshan is so strong in the early game. So yeah, if it's different, I guess, if you're playing lots of champs, but for you, like you can definitely know that in the early game you should look to be super aggressive with your E and try and like hit them with an auto attack first and then look for the E in. I think also, like, we've kind of already mentioned it, but the cooldowns thing is a big thing for you, so yours and your opponents. So you need to really think about, like, first off, like what the key cooldowns are. So, like, in this matchup, right, say Qiyana Q might not be that important of a cooldown. Or actually, let's make it simpler. Like, Qiyana W is not going to matter because it's like such a low cooldown, right? But like Qiyana R and Qiyana Ignite, those are like key cooldowns. And then for you, it's like your Q being on cooldown, it's not great, but it's nowhere near as important as like your E being on cooldown, right? So you really need to like play around these. So mid lane is always like a back and forth between cooldowns, and if you, yeah, like you need to be really aware of your own as well as theirs. And there's a lot of times where you're playing too aggressive without it, and also there's times where you're playing too passive when she's just used spells, and you could probably look to punish. Let's just actually skim through the early game. I think your roams for the most part were good. You didn't do any egregious roams really. Oh, I think your warding was a pretty big deal. So warding, I would recommend just like warding at 2 minutes 30 like pretty much every game. On the opposite side from where they started, so like they're gonna start a bot, you can look for that top side ward and you'd be safe. And also I'm gonna say, like, this is a bit different, but I'm gonna say vision. So there was that time a bit later in the early game, like maybe like here, where you're just like consistently pushing with no vision around mid. So one thing I've said to a lot of people is try like build a habit of when the new wave comes, like this is how I do it. So whenever the new wave comes to mid, so I have like a trigger in my head of when I see this new wave coming, I just look at my map and kind of like assess the situation, I guess. So just like check junglers / vision. So I'm gonna say when this new wave comes, you should think, okay, where is their jungler? I don't know. Okay, where do I have vision? I don't have any. Like you should just kind of like have a little checklist or try and get into the habit of reminding yourself every time this new wave comes, and you can recognize, like, I think it's easy for you to see, right, as long as you're paying attention to it, that you're like really unsafe whenever you do this, like whenever you push past this halfway point. Oh yeah, I will also like say the runes thing. So generally resolve second is better on Akshan, not always. I'm putting less like versus heavy skill shots. So if you're versus like Syndra or something, it'd be better to have Time Warp Tonic, probably with Corrupting Potion, but otherwise, I think you take resolve and you take like bone plating plus overgrowth. The health one. I think you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's those were definitely the biggest. Oh, this kind of went over there.
I think I also died there because I haven't like my E up, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
you can play aggressive with it, yeah.
I used my E earlier, so she
Oh,
killed all of
right. Yeah, that's right. That was his death. Yeah, you used your E. Yeah, this was walking up with no cooldowns. I remember that.
yeah.
Another thing, this is kind of small, but if you're actually not sure what champion you're laning against, you should just take health. Like, I guess you were pretty sure you were versus Rise, that's why you take Imara. But
Yeah.
one thing I do is just like, if there's even a chance they can flex, I just take health. Because to be honest, taking health is actually fine. Someone in the Discord actually said it outscales like pretty early in the game, like level 5 or something. So taking health is actually quite good as well. So if you're not really sure, just take health. Although I don't think that happens very often, and also it's like it's a pretty small thing, right? So your early game put you really, really far behind, and I think that made playing the game like really, really difficult for the rest of that. But then in the mid game, you need to like, I've said this to a lot of people actually, you need to think about like waves, like side waves a lot more, and just like farm slash gold slash, I'll just put like gold slash XP in general. So you need to always try to find gold slash XP in mid game. So mid game it's like way harder to guarantee you're just gonna get gold. You know, like if you're in lane phase, you just get a new wave every 30 seconds and you don't really have to think about it. But in the mid game, you kind of have to actively seek out farm like golden XP, and also it's a bit more dynamic. You know, like in the early game, everyone's just in their assigned lane, right? But in the mid game, there's like a lot more moving pieces. So I really want you to feel bad when you're not farming slash you're sharing farm. So if you're ever like with your ADC sharing farm, or if you're not, farming something like whether it's a camp, a wave, a tower, like literally anything, if you're not getting gold, it should feel bad. And those times when you just have like a minute straight and you only get 2 CS, those you should try like get rid of all those. Also think you should also try only group for objectives. There's lots of times that you're running to fights, which is good, but I think at the moment you're doing it too much, and you should just try only group for like Dragon and Baron, basically. And this isn't 100% correct, but I think it's something that you could try. Is just like, right now, you're grouping way, way too much. So you could just try going the complete other end of the spectrum and just like split pushing too much, and then now that you've kind of had both ends of like you've grouped way too much, you've split pushed way too much, it'll be easier for you to help like find a balance. And if you're not really confident doing that on your main account, you could just do it in normals, like a normal game, or you could do it in like on your Smurf or something. So I think that would be good. I think, to be honest, you play the skirmishes and like the fights pretty well. Like I think, yeah, you hit good targets. You used your E well for the most part. I don't really have any complaints about your Akshan specific play. It's more just like your fundamentals are really lacking, and especially the early game is making it really, really hard for you to play the mid game. And then there's a lot of mistakes you're making in the mid game as well. So I think for you, like the biggest things to work on, I would say in the early game, definitely like cooldowns, like, yeah, again, yours and opponent. I think like your warding slash vision needs to be worked on a lot. If you do these two things for the early game, this will solve a lot of your deaths, and also like help your lane phase a lot. Easy thing to fix also your runes, so that's the problem. And then in the mid game, again, it's like the farming slash, or I'll just put the gold XP thing, like just try find, and I guess like side laning these two in the mid game. So I think the way you can focus on these is before the game starts, try identify the key cooldowns. So when you're in the loading screen, just think about like Akshan versus Qiyana, and think about like what skills actually matter. And I think you can probably realize that the most important things are probably like, Qiyana has short cooldowns, so it's mainly going to be more about like how you use your E and stuff like that. Also, like your bone plating cooldown could be a thing. So
Yeah.
that's going to be really big for you. Warding and vision, I'd say the easiest way. If in my warding video, I don't know if you've watched it, I have like a little TLDR at the end that you can just skip to, where I talk about like a warding method, which is basically like 230 ward opposite side of where the jungle starts, and then like another 4 minute ward, and then basically pink wards from then on. So you could go check that. I think that this will keep you a lot safer in the early game. And that's
Mhm.
really easy. Your runes, I mean, that's super simple. And then, yeah, I would say that this is the hardest thing to work on, but I also think like it'll also be a lot easier for you if you come out of the early game just a lot stronger than you are now, because you
Mhm.
kind of come out of the early game like you have some kills, but you're sort of behind in XP and you don't really have as much gold as you should. I think to work on this, just like try side lane too much. Just like try not grouping, play really selfish. This is gonna be hard, I think, to learn, but it's definitely something that you should try. And again, if you're not really confident doing it in ranked, just do it on your Smurf. I think until you get a bit more confident with it, and you'll
Yeah.
see there's like so much more gold in the mid game. A lot of people, I think, definitely in low elo, kind of see it as like okay, in the early game, you get 10 CS per minute, and then in the mid game, your CS like naturally falls. And in some games, that's true, but especially when you're on a champion like Akshan that's super strong in side lane, farms camps really quickly, and pushes waves, it can even be that your CS in the early game isn't that good, and then suddenly in the mid game, you can actually get like more CS than you were getting in the early game. So you should definitely think about that. But yeah, do you have any questions about anything? Because that's kind of like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I also played a lot of Wise
Oh
a
yeah,
few patches ago because I just needed an AP champ and stuff like that.
yeah,
Whatever. And with Wise, I did a lot of side laning. Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
would stuff. I would only side lane. And but as a general rule, do you think like if you look at like Akshan's identity, don't you think like he is like a champion who wants to join team fights as much as possible because of his passive?
Yeah, like
Like his
I think Akshan wants to join team fights, and I don't think like Akshan's not the best at like diving people under their tower. But if you kind of like the ideal, I guess for Akshan, let's just go to this point. The ideal for Akshan is to push a wave as far as he can into tower, and then look to join a fight, right? But in this situation specifically, you can't really team fight because you're too far behind, and
Yeah.
also this guy is low and you can kill him. But the main thing I'm talking about when side laning, I'm not so much talking about actually just like hitting towers in the way that like a Fiora or a Tryndamere might. More, I mean,
Oh
just
yeah.
like actually coming to the wave and pushing it and getting gold, you know? Because a lot of the time, you're just like, you're just not really doing anything, you know? So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you. That was good that you cleared that up. Is yeah, you do want to push the wave to the tower and move to your team because Akshan isn't that great at diving people and you can't really poke people under tower either. But it's really important that you do just go to the side lane and farm the wave and then push it as far as you can. I guess actually I'll just write this on a different line. How can I go down? So for your side laning, it should just be push as far as you can, like without dying. If you have no vision, obviously, it can be hard. And then once it's all the way pushed in, like then move to your team, basically. And then the further you push it, also, the more time you have to be with your team before you're like forced to go back to the lane. So yeah,
So if like you wrote a bunch of stuff down, if
yeah,
you have picked one stuff that I can focus on that you think will like impact me and
yeah.
my gameplay, what would it be?
Okay, so I think in the early game, it's definitely this. Like, I would just focus on thinking about cooldowns first. If you wanted, you could maybe focus on two things a game, like your cooldowns in the early game and your side laning in the mid game. But I think,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the biggest thing for you is this, like, this very early game cooldowns, and that'll make all of this, like, a bit easier. Yeah, so I'd say
Mhm.
like definitely focus on the cooldowns first. And if you wanted, you could try doing the side laning as well. But if it's too much, just yeah, try and get this like cooldowns thing nailed, and that'll make just like your laning phase go like way better than it is now.
Mm, about in the laning phase now about trading and CSing, do you think like I have a tendency to like not CS and trade too much or trade too much and miss CS? Have you noticed something
I think
like
your
this?
CSing is more like because you're just taking bad trades like around your cooldowns, you know, like you just end up lower HP than you should be, and like, you know, you just like die more often than you should. So I think your CSing, like your CSing is actually fine. Okay, like your CS is really low, but it's because of
Yeah.
other things. It's because you're dying, it's because you're like too low to fight waves, stuff like that. And I think your trading, again, it's like you can be more aggressive. Like we did talk about this, like the recognizing advantages. So there are times when you can trade more, right? But the biggest problem for you right now is just, I guess we could put this in as another thing that's like quite important for you to work on. But I would say that the cooldowns, identifying the cooldowns is definitely the biggest thing. And also, I think you will naturally, like, a cooldown advantage is like one of these like advantages for you to recognize, right? And if you're just thinking about cooldowns more, you'll like naturally look to punish them. So I think by practicing this, you'll like naturally get a bit better at this. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, I see. That was actually be my questions. Like you say, the one big thing should be like the laning phase, right?
Hmm.
Identifying cooldowns, and
Yeah.
that would lead to like having an easier time later on,
Yeah.
not being behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. That'll be really big because Akshan sort of struggles to play from behind because one, you're squishy, two, you don't have any CC, and three, you kind of like you have to play like short range and like eating into the enemy team. So if you do fall behind on Akshan, it's way different than if you're a champion that say like has CC, utility, and range. Like, okay, if you fall behind on Oriana, you're like not as useful as if you're ahead, but you're not useless. But if you fall behind on Akshan, you run the risk of being like literally useless. So it's really important that you like get ahead and stay ahead, and you definitely have the tools as Akshan to do that. So as long as you like don't, I guess, like don't make too many mistakes, you should be able to do that. And so yeah, like the biggest one for you is you make a lot of cooldown mistakes, and that causes you to fall behind.
Okay, I see. I see. Have you noticed some good habits so you can like better my mood somehow?
Yeah, no, I think your skirmishing and team fighting is quite good. Like you normally hit the right targets. I think you use your E pretty well for the most part. And like there were a lot of those times where you put yourself in a position where you had to play it really well to make it work out, and you played it well, you know? Like I think, to be honest, you a lot of the stuff that you're good at is actually sort of harder to teach, because it's like how do you teach the person to make sure you E in the exactly right place, or you know, do things at the right time? It's pretty hard. So I actually think I really think it's true. I'm not just trying to make you feel better. I think you've got a lot of the difficult stuff, especially like action specific stuff, quite good already. It's just like your fundamentals are lacking, and when you get better at the fundamentals, I think you'll improve like a ton over a short amount of time because you've already got like the hard parts in place.
Okay, how can I make sure that I really stick to these things now?
Okay, so the way I would do it is I would probably just first off, I would set yourself like some goals. So I would say set yourself maybe a goal for the week. It depends, or maybe for like 3 days. It depends how long you want to spend on each thing. So let's just say it's a week. So like I don't know, week one, you're just gonna focus on thinking about cooldowns in lane phase, and you just like write this on a sticky note or something and read this before every game, and just read it and be like, okay, in this game, all I'm like, I don't care if I win or lose. The main thing I want to do is focus on thinking about cooldowns in the lane phase, and then after a week, you will be surprised how much better you will get at this. And then okay, say like
Can you
say a
write
week,
it down?
yeah, I can write
So,
them all down if you want. So like week two, I would say, I mean, you can change the weeks, but let's just write down some extra stuff. So we've got the cooldowns. I think then you should probably focus on your warding and vision, which should be like I guess like warding at correct times, like hugging to your vision, stuff like this. And actually, let's make this a bit more actionable. So like I will focus
Copy and
on warding at 2 minutes 30 at opposite side of where their jungler starts. Do you know what this means? Did I make that clear?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then for week 2, this would mean that you always get that like 230 ward right. And that might not take you a week, right? Like you can just make this however long you want. And then I think in, say, this 3rd week, just like focus on always farming. I'm just gonna put farming slash pushing the side wave in mid game. And then yeah, I think so you spend like 3 weeks or so focusing on like each of these 3 key things. This one might not even take you that long. Kind of depends how much you like, how in depth you want to go into it. But definitely these other 2 will make a big difference. And actually, I don't know, they all make a big difference. Like these 2 will clean up your early game a lot, and then this one will help you like stay ahead in the mid game. So I think those would be good ways. I like that you're asking really like pointed questions, by the way. I think it's really good.
I gotta take the most out of my money, man.
Exactly.
I gotta make the most out of it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
No, I also like that you go into detail and answer my questions, so that's also great.
Cool. Well, yeah, if you have any questions at any time, you can just like message me as well. Like you don't, yeah. It's
Yeah, thanks.
24/7 support. You know how it goes.
Yeah. You soon have to maybe like get some Discord admins and people who manage your stuff once you grow
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, I was
Get them
thinking
to
that. You know, like
get.
when I've been booking the coaching sessions and like everyone has different time zones, it's been such a nightmare, honestly. Like, you know, there's like people that are like you that are coaching very late at night for me, and then there's some that are very early in the morning, and I also have like my university schedule and stuff as well. I really need like a, yeah, like a moderator or a secretary or something. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty funny. But yeah, cool, man. So if there's anything else like right now, obviously you can let me know. But otherwise, I think we're done. And what I'll do is I'll copy this. I'll copy this whole. Oops, did not mean to make that so big. I'll copy this to you on Discord right now, and then
Yeah.
that way you've got that there. And yeah, if is there any, so do you have anything else right now, or you think you're good?
That we're good.
All
We're
right,
good.
awesome. So yeah, hopefully it's helpful for you, obviously. And yeah, message me literally at any time, and I will respond within the day, I'm sure. And if you like sort of struggle like to work on any of these, like you can let me know, and maybe I can give you like some more detailed pointers, or I can like show you some VODs where it might be where it might happen and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think just give it a go, and you should see a really big improvement. And I really do believe that if you work on these, you'll go up and rank a lot, because like I said, you've got these like difficult parts of the game, or at least the Akshan specific things done really well.
Hmm.
Like I can tell that you have played 100 Akshan games or whatever, you know? Like you definitely are experienced on the champion. So yeah, that's good.
Okay, so for the future, if let's say I want you to check up my games again.
Hmm.
Maybe, and I want to focus on my laning phase. Can we do
Yeah.
it like something like I sent you, I don't know, like 5 or 6 games
Yeah,
of the first.
you did, yeah, you definitely could do that. If you did want to just like, yeah, like you could book another session and just bring like 6 replays, and we could just watch like the first 10 minutes of each one. Or if you
Yeah,
wanted to do it where like, you know how I've got that one where it's like not live coaching and it's just like a VOD review. If you wanted to like stitch together like, you know, like 5 replays, and I just watch like the first 10 minutes of each one, I don't mind doing that either. So it's just kind
hmm,
of up to you. Like if you can just like say in your message kind of what you want to happen. I'm pretty flexible, right? Like I don't really care about like going over time. I don't really care if you want something unique. I can like, you know, just cater to whatever you want, sort of thing.
okay, that sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna go to bed because it's 1:30 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, but cool, man. Nice to meet you, and thanks for supporting me,
I-
obviously.
Yeah. Well, let's say have a good night then.
Yeah. All right.